I'm the Secretary of State. Brought to you by Carl's Jr.
Why do you keep saying that?
Because they pay me every time I do. It's a really good way to make money. You're so smart, why don't you know that?
Hey! We're recording this podcast! Shut up!
Good morning to you, wherever you are, because it is
Morning Somewhere!
for January 20th, 2025. My name is Bernie Burns, sitting right over there. She's got what plants crave. It's Ashley Burns. Say hi to Ashley, everybody.
It's electrolytes.
I just want to say at the top of the show, I want to give a special congratulations to every single person who is listening to this, because if you are, it means you survived the dumbest weekend in history, I think. Everything that happened this weekend was so dumb, so incredibly, unbelievably dumb.
Well, the big news, Bernie, is that you had a birthday.
Yes, I'd forgotten that in all of this. I had a birthday this weekend. My birthday was on January 18th.
It's my birthday!
So, yeah.
But you know what's really sweet? What I really appreciate is that to give you just a really proper birthday present, ByteDance shut down TikTok early.
Did they? Did they?
So
Did they shut down?
The date for the TikTok shutdown was supposed to be the 19th of January. That was Sunday for those of you keeping score at home. But they decided, you know what, we're going to blow this popsicle joint early. And they shut it down evening of the 18th for your birthday. So happy birthday, Bernie. But then less than 12 hours later, they were like, just kidding, we're back, bitches.
It was so weird, too, because the shutdown message was like an appeal to President Trump, not even president-elect, but President Trump, who takes office today.
Right. So the exact message was, sorry, TikTok isn't available right now. A law banning TikTok has been enacted in the U.S. Unfortunately, that means you can't use TikTok for now. We're fortunate that President Trump has indicated that he will work with us on a solution to reinstate TikTok once he takes office. Please stay tuned.
Which we talked about this late last week. We predicted that Trump would be out in front of this thing.
Oh, and he absolutely is. Because
and literally his name is on it.
Yeah, and the message when they reinstated services like 12 hours later, as soon as he put out an announcement saying that he is going to sign an order offering a 90-day extension on the shutdown while they, figure out some other solution, and that included basically consideration for all of the service providers, basically like the content servers for TikTok, saying that they won't take action against any of them. And so TikTok came back online basically being like, yay, thanks, Trump. It was very strange.
It does feel like ever since the election, there was all this pushback and barriers right up until the election, and then they all just fell away. All of that did. Like, we even talked about all the $1 million donations to the inauguration, which is this big party this weekend, even like down to Snoop Dogg, who previously called out artists who performed at the first Trump inauguration, is now performing at this inauguration. It's just, it's weird. It just feels like everything fell apart. There was this, do you see the Biden press conference where he was talking about the Gaza press deal?
Yes, so there's
peace deal?
Yeah, so there's a ceasefire now in effect between Israel and Hamas in Gaza, and they've even done an exchange. So Hamas has returned 3 hostages.
The day before the president is inaugurated.
Yes, and
you ever seen that before?
You know what? Very close.
400 days they were hostages. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
And in return, Israel returned 90 Palestinians. So it's.
But in the press conference, though, Biden was walking away from the podium, all done, and somebody shouts out, "Is this your deal or is this Donald Trump's deal?" And it's literally stopped him in his tracks. Biden,
right,
he turned around.
He kind of laughed a little bit, even, right? Like, that's a joke, right?
He goes, is this a joke? And they said no. And then he just goes, and he just walked away.
He goes, yeah.
The sitting president announces a peace deal. And then they did that. And everyone is saying, yes, he had influence. It's just crazy how even the press, who is historically very anti-Trump, it just seems like all the barriers are gone. It's wild. And we'll get into some of the dumber parts of that in a second. We can't avoid it.
Well, we have dumb stuff to talk about with TikTok first. Like the fact that TikTok wasn't the only app that was shut down. It's
Right.
just the only one that anyone sort of announced. There was actually a full list of apps that were shut down as a result of this. One of the major ones for our sphere of interest, Bernie, it was Marvel Snap, which is a mobile card game. And that one just disappeared. I don't think there was any warning about that one, but it shut down operations at the exact same time. And it's still not back on the App Store in the US yet.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I'm with you. I did not know that this was even on the table. You thought there would have been some warning. Maybe there was and we weren't paying attention to it, but it seemed like there was a lot of collateral damage that happened all at once that there was no warnings about.
Right. And I think that some people knew that some of them were coming, but it was not highly publicized. I'll get into that in a second. But the full list of apps that were affected. So there's Marvel Snap was a big one. Tokopedia, which is an online shopping platform. Fizzo, which is an ebook reading platform. Malolo, which is a short form video streaming app. Lark, which is like a workplace messaging. Hypic, which is a photo editing application. Goth, which is like an app that uses AI to help students with homework. Lemonade, which is a lifestyle and social media platform with like photo and video content. And then a big one also was CapCut, which is a video editing app. I think it's kind of considered one of the de facto mobile video editing apps for short form content in particular. And like immediately after that happened, guess who announced a competitor?
Let me guess, Ashley. Was it Instagram?
It was! Instagram announced Edits, or Meta announced Edits, which is supposed to be kind of like a competitor to CapCut. What's interesting about this is it's not ready to go, but they must have known that CapCut was going to be affected, that it was going to be part of the shutdown because they had the announcement ready to go. The app's not going to be out until March.
What a coincidence.
Yeah. It was, well, I guess it shouldn't be that surprising with Instagram or with Meta. They've proven surprisingly opportunistic for announcing new apps when other apps are in trouble. Like they did the same thing. They announced Threads and launched Threads clearly before it was done baking. When Twitter or X was going through
like a user exodus.
A little bit of, a bit of upheaval and exodus. So,
the first of many exoduses.
Right. And that's also not even the beginning of the first time that Instagram has taken stuff or let's say heavy inspiration from other apps.
Well, like they straight up lifted, I feel, stories from Snapchat. It was a popular thing there. They did that. They have Threads. And now CapCut, which is an app which supports their platform, they've decided, like, as soon as they were shut down, they announced a competitor to that app, which is just, Instagram is starting to feel almost like the table scraps platform. Like they just try to take whatever is falling off of everyone else's table, essentially. Like even TikTok with Reels, honestly.
Yeah, I know. That's not even a small thing they did. So they did Snapchat with Stories. They did TikTok with Reels. They did X with Threads. Now they're doing CapCut with Edits. Like it's a trend for them where they see what someone else is doing well and go, I think we can do this.
Exactly. No one seems to care either. That's the frustrating part about it. While we're talking about Instagram, though, we should make people aware, public service here. Instagram is rolling out a feature that will, for people on your friends list, it will show them reels that were liked by other friends. But basically what this amounts to is people are going to be able to see the reels that you've liked. Just a heads up.
You know what I find interesting is that used to be a feature on Instagram, didn't it? Like you could go in, not reels specifically, but you could go into your notifications and see activity of stuff that, like it was pictures that your friends have liked. Mm-hmm. That used to be a feature and then it went away. And now it looks like it's coming back. It's been coming back a little bit. Like if you're scrolling through reels and there's something that someone you follow has liked, their photo shows up with a little heart next to it in the corner. And I've seen that. I've noticed that coming. But apparently it's going that much further. Like there's going to be a whole feed of reels that people you follow have liked.
Yeah, and I think you'll be able to tell basically a lot more closely as to who liked what and how. You know, Just be aware of that. You can go into the your activity section of Instagram and see what you've liked in the past.
Maybe go ahead and check that. Maybe clean it up a little bit if you need to.
Or like you're like me and you go in there and you see like all the random shit you accidentally liked.
Because the little heart icon is right next to where your thumb goes when you're trying to scroll up.
Right.
Yeah.
But one of the funnier things besides this Instagram land grab that they're doing, one of the funnier things I saw with the whole imminent TikTok shutdown, the horrible 12 hours that we all endured together.
Except that we didn't.
Right, because we're in the UK, so it never even happened here. That was another weird thing. It's like if you were outside the US, it was business as usual, essentially.
We actually had to turn on like a VPN in order to see the TikTok shutdown message that everyone was starting to post and go, oh, that's strange.
But I saw this article, this headline that said, it was talking about users that were moving over to RedNote, the all Chinese app, like the native Chinese language app. We talked about it last week.
Right. This is the one that people are using Duolingo to learn Mandarin so that they can use this RedNote app instead.
And I saw this headline that was just like looking down their nose at those users saying, users who are fleeing the ban of TikTok in the US are going to RedNote. But now, they are encountering Chinese level censorship for the first time. And I thought, how hypocritical do you have to be as a headline? How self-unaware to say of a full ban of the platform in this country, but look out for the censorship over here. It's like, what do you think censorship is when the entire platform is gone from the US?
You know what, buddy? Get on our level. Okay?
Yeah, pal. Step it up, man. Look what we're doing over here. We went 12 hours with no TikTok. I saw, by the way, another funny post on social media, which was somebody saying like, hey, does anyone have a screenshot of the TikTok status update? I don't have 15 million of these in my feed at the moment.
It's all anyone was posting for a bit. There's also been, I feel like, a little bit of worry surfacing that this could affect other sort of Chinese-owned or Chinese-invested companies. Things like Tencent is a big one. Tencent is big in gaming. They are a heavy investor in a lot of different gaming companies. And so far, I think they've gotten away pretty light because the companies that they are invested in have US-based operations in a lot of cases, but they actually just got added to a list of like companies assisting the Chinese military. So I wonder if that's going to change at all.
Well, it's interesting because if you look at a lot of the things that were used to take down TikTok, a lot of those same things would apply to something like Fortnite as well, which is invested in heavily by Tencent, right? They're a big investor in Epic. Yes, it is a U.S.-held company already, but they might have to divest from that investment, which would be a tough thing to do.
It'd be weird. But you know one thing that does really irritate me, just very quickly about this whole TikTok thing, we're talking about it constantly, but there was actually just another big cybersecurity incident where Chinese hackers infiltrated U.S. Treasury PCs, like 400 government PCs in the Treasury Department. And we're sitting here talking about like TikTok, like, oh no, they might get your 13-year-old's stupid dance videos or watch them eating like Tide Pods or whatever, right? And you know, they might send that information to the Chinese government. Meanwhile, hackers have actual access to government PCs.
You're right. And it is interesting that when TikTok comes back, there's no discussion about how it's affecting young people or anything like that. It's really just the Chinese influence and the national security. That's all Trump said in his statement about it.
But I feel like, you know, it's like this shiny thing over here for people to talk about. Meanwhile, serious things are happening that we're not talking about.
It is like, I mean, we played an Idiocracy drop at the beginning of this, which I think we're all shocked at how prescient that movie was and continues to become on levels that we did not expect. We really are just in an incredibly dumb time. We haven't gotten to some of the really dumb stuff from this weekend.
Well, stay tuned.
Well, the other thing you're talking about is like it reminds me of the Childish Gambino music video, This Is America, with the guy, the charismatic guy dancing in the foreground. However, and you're just paying attention to that guy while everything terrible is going on in the background, you know? And it's like, I just feel like that more and more, just more and more. It's really crazy. I'm I'm having a tough morning this morning, actually.
A little bit
we're about
numbing.
to get into some topics that you're gonna have to bail me out of them really quickly.
Well, that's because today is a big day. Today is the presidential inauguration.
Yes.
And things are moving fast on that as well. They actually just announced they're moving it indoors because it's cold outside.
Is that why I saw everything from weather events to potential security threats as well? I even read this crazy article about pilots piloting their craft, helicopters and even some fixed-wing aircraft down low through the city between buildings with detectors on it to detect radioactive material in the event of like some kind of a dirty bomb threat or something like that. It was a crazy article. So I've read everything, from like weather to security threats.
Yeah, the main thing that I read was weather. There have been a few inaugurations that have changed plans due to weather in the past. I believe William Howard Taft's inauguration, that was 1909, was moved indoors because there was a bunch of snow. But the big one is U.S. President William Henry Harrison's 1841 inauguration in cold, wet weather without proper clothing is believed to have contributed to his death from pneumonia a month later. That's according to
well, that's a good reason.
On First Post. So yeah, I can see why you might move it indoors. But there's a big cold snap across all of the U.S. at the moment.
Yeah, but I'm kind of disappointed it's going in because when I think about cold weather and inaugurations, I think about Bernie Sanders and his giant mittens from what we call the 2020 inauguration, but it was in 2021. And he's out there in his folding chair. He's got his mask on because we're like deep into COVID at that point in time. For some reason, he's not wearing a hat. He's got his bald head like out to the cold, but he's got these gigantic mittens on. And it became this incredible meme.
He didn't need the hat. He had those dope mittens.
I mean, listen, I like 40% of your heat loss is through your fingertips, I guess.
I love that
he was protected.
You know, it makes sense though. Like I find that if my hands are covered, if I have on gloves and if I have on socks, I am so much warmer.
And it was funny too because a lot of politicians, when something becomes meme worthy, and it was everywhere, like they were photoshopping him into like WWE events,
amusement park rides.
Yeah, everything. And he just responded. He said, I'm from the great state of Vermont, and we're known for our wool. And so I'm really proud of my mittens. And the school teacher who makes these mittens and sent them to me, she's been overwhelmed by the support. So thank you. Like
That's really sweet.
It is. It's really sweet. And that's the kind of thing I love. Simpler done. Actually, simpler done.
So who's going to be our fashion icon for this inauguration?
Well, yeah, we'll have to put up with, or we'll have to just be satisfied with Bernie Sanders's like indoor fashion reveal this time. I don't think it'll be on the same level as the mittens, we'll see.
Roll out the red carpet for him.
But that's today. Trump takes over today. He will be the president today. But when I was just talking now about simpler times, I was looking at the Austin weather report for the next couple of days.
Because it's going to be cold there too.
Yeah, it goes like -6 degrees Celsius to 20 degrees Celsius. So that goes in Fahrenheit terms, that goes from well below freezing temperatures, like mid-20s, and it goes all the way up to room temperature outside 70 degrees over the course of like a few days.
That's such a huge swing.
It's crazy when that happens. And I gotta say, I lived in Austin for 30 years, man. 30 years. And I know on like a geological scale that's kind of anecdotal, but I just don't remember like all these freezes happening, all these massive freezes. In fact, I do remember, but I remember specific ones because they were so rare. It was like I was living with Matt Hullum, and we were after college, and we were in an apartment together, and we were on a hill. And we knew this ice storm was coming because they were predicting it, and the weather guys were going nuts in the way that only weather guys can go nuts. And they let us know. Yeah, so they knew it was coming, and we knew we couldn't get in and out of the apartment complex because the hill was going to ice. So Ashley, it was like 1997, I think. We went down to Blockbuster Video.
That was your preparation?
That's what we did. We went to Blockbuster Video, and we rented a Nintendo 64 console and Mario 64. I probably hadn't played a console video game in like 10 years by that point, and it's how I got back into console games. It was because of this ice storm. Yeah, that's what we did. That was our prep.
Such dudes. This ice storm is coming, and we're going to be cut off from all civilization. What should we do to prepare? But we're getting some video games. Get to that Blockbuster. Get us some beer and some Nintendo, and we'll be set. That's all we need, really, to survive.
And we also, by the way, we didn't even consider the power aspect. we would just be paying to rent this Nintendo 64. We had no power.
Staring at it in the dark.
But we actually kept power the whole time. We're great. And I like the fact that you think we were cool enough to get beer. We got a case, like a pallet of 24 20-ounce bottles of Coke.
Oh,
Dude, that was like a luxury item. Like seeing
Like a
that
real
many
splurge?
like full 20-ounce bottles, I'd be like, holy cow, we felt like kings.
this was the big spend. This was a real preparation.
And we kept it out on the balcony because of the freezing temperatures, and they got that perfect level of like icy, where it's like a little bit of ice at the top, like little flecks.
Yeah, like a
Ashley,
little bit
flecks.
where it's starting to ice inside. It hasn't frozen all the way yet, but if you open it and drink it, you get a little bit of that chewy Coke ice going on. That's nice stuff.
But rare enough that I remember it, Ashley. Simpler times.
Simpler times, but not anymore. However,
We had to talk about this, and I'm going to warn you before this. Bail me out of this. Get me out of this as fast as possible.
Okay.
So another dumb thing that happened this weekend is that President-elect Trump unveiled, let's call what it's a shit coin, like a cryptocurrency altcoin, the Trump coin. Official from him, debuted Friday night. And then also,
his wife.
yes.
Also, then right. So he launched a coin,
What are we doing?
And then here's what's weird to me, right? Is then he launches his coin, and then immediately after that, she launches a Melania coin and crashed his coin. Do you think he's mad at her about that? Is this something that they have to like go to couples therapy over?
Well, that's
Is this
actually
going to cause like domestic disputes. What's happening?
It's actually a really good question. I didn't think about that. Like her coin coming out and his dipping could definitely be it. But I want to say though, people are saying crash. Like there's a lot of headlines now and a lot of posts on social media and forums and things like that about like the Trump coin crashed and oh my God, and everyone loves the Schadenfreude or whatever. That's a coping mechanism. It went from 10 when it debuted up to 70 and then crashed down to 50. At the end of the weekend, it still went from 10 to 50. That is a 5x return on that. 500% is what that went up.
Do you think those are shared marital assets? Like, do they both profit off the values, or are these like separate assets? I wonder how that works.
That's a question that would take like 20 years in court probably to work out, Ashley. That is not for this podcast. I couldn't imagine how lengthy that discussion would be about that. That's probably why she has her own, because it's a separate asset.
But you also know that this is going to come up in arguments like 5 years from now. He's going to be like, babe, why are you mad? And she's going to be like, do you remember the meme coin?
God, it's just, you think they talk to each other? Who the hell knows? It's just insane. I like think, Carter just died. And when Carter took office, he put his stupid little peanut farm into a trust so that there wouldn't be the appearance that he was benefiting from his business while he was president of the United States. And now we have this stuff. This is what the Hawk Tuah girl did like 2 or 3 months ago.
And everyone was furious.
Everybody. And everyone called it what it was. It was like a cash grab. And was she a victim or wasn't she? That was like the only saving grace in the whole thing. Like somebody got hold of her. It's just insane. We live in the dumbest time. We live in it's incredibly dumb and getting dumber all the time. And this is going to sound cynical. I'm just like, does anything matter? Like, everyone just do whatever the fuck? Just do whatever you want, Ash. Whatever you want to do, just do it.
Well,
Fuck
I have a great suggestion. If you want to put your money into a nice, like, hard investment, none of these meme coins, I'm going to suggest pigeons.
Okay. This is the bailout, I hope. Pigeons. What am I investing in the pigeon world?
Pigeons. So, Bernie, Belgium is experiencing a crime spree of pigeon theft. So apparently pigeon racing is like a huge sport in Belgium. I've never heard about this, but I guess it's like the #1 country for pigeon racing. And as a result, there's been a crime spree of pigeon heists sweeping the nation. In one loft, this is an article from AP News, in one loft, an estimated 100,000 euros worth of pigeons were stolen last week, and no arrests have been made. The prices per bird can value from anywhere from like €1,000 to like €100,000. The
Wait
highest
till
price.
Melania puts out hers. That'll really go down. Wait a second here. So the pigeons aren't heisting. The pigeons are being heisted.
The pigeons are being heisted.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
no one's sending a pigeon in to like steal someone's Melania coin. Okay, someone is stealing the pigeons themselves. Bernie, the top pigeon racing bird, like the highest priced bird in the world, fetched €1.6 million a few years ago. These can be very, very expensive birds.
Okay, I think I found the group of people that are dumber than the people that bought Melania coin. And it might be people who go to a pigeon race. Are they racing around a track? What are they doing? Pigeons?
They're chasing a rabbit. No, I don't know. I don't know a lot about pigeon racing.
I'll look it up.
But what I want to know about this, right, is so these are pigeons. They're racing pigeons, I guess. I don't know if that's a specific type of pigeon. But if we look at it like horse racing, right, the bloodline of the animal is very important to its value. Right?
Right.
So imagine taking a pigeon into like, I don't know, is there a bird fence, like a pigeon pawn shop or something?
An underground market.
Right, where you take it to like the underground like market for racing pigeons, I guess. But then you can't say this is the bloodline of this pigeon because then it's very clearly the pigeon that was stolen.
Right. How many events could you possibly go to?
Right. Is there like, do you specifically only go to the Stolen Pigeon League?
Right. They're going to know. Like... It's like 12 pigeons worldwide and like 2 events.
Right, like you can't race this bird. So, and how much value does it lose when you don't have that? I also have to know, if you take this to like a fence, right, who deals in stolen goods, what kind of cut does a fence take on a stolen bird?
Right. They know a guy. They're going to call a pigeon expert in at the pawn shop. All right, I have here from Wikipedia. Pigeon racing is the sport of releasing specially trained homing pigeons, which then return to their homes over a carefully measured distance. It can range anywhere from 100 kilometers to 1,000 kilometers. That's 62 miles or 620 miles. 620 miles. That actually sounds kind of cool.
That sounded like a $1.6 million bird to me.
Fuck it, I'm going to steal a bird. There's no consequences. I'm gonna get into this pigeon racing.
And here's the other problem, right? They're homing pigeons. If you ever accidentally let that bird out and it's a bird they want to go out, it's going to go home.
Can I just say, I'm looking at this Wikipedia entry. You almost bailed me out, but I got on Wikipedia. This reminds me, when I was fortunate enough to be part of a special commission during the Obama administration. I went to the White House for this. And when I was leaving the White House, they gave me these presidential M&Ms. I think I've talked about these before.
Let me
like
guess.
A box of M&Ms. It was presidential White House seal on them.
I have to guess. Were they, Bernie, special colors, red, white, and blue?
You're a marketing savant over there. You nailed it. So when I came back and I made a post about it, I think either like a social media post or part of the vlog, all these people who are big in the political sphere, like people who watch it, they were like, I will buy those from you. If you haven't opened them, I will buy those from you right now.
Oh, they're like an NFT.
And it's got, like I said, it's got a Wikipedia entry and everything. And I didn't know about these kinds of things. But I remember at the time I thought, how weird is it that the M&M logo was like right there next to the White House seal? That felt weird to me.
Right, like there's like a marketing collab between M&Ms and the White House.
That didn't feel right. And that was just, 10 years ago, maybe? 10 years ago? 12 years ago? Anyway, simpler times, actually.
Yeah, that's right. M&Ms just lacked your ambition.
Yeah, exactly.
Just wait till the MM coin launches.
Get on our level. Get on our level in 2025, M&Ms. You're falling behind.
All right, well, I would like to say a big thank you to today's presidential M&Ms, Ray Rod and Aggregate. Thank you both so much for sponsoring this episode of our show at patreon.com/morning somewhere. You make our day a little bit brighter.
Absolutely. From now on, we are a full 100% pigeon racing podcast. That's all we're going to be talking about. It's our new thing, everybody. That's what we're doing. All right, well, that does it for us today. The dumbest Monday ever, January 20th, 2025. We will be back to talk to you on a Smart Tuesday. We hope you will be here as well.
Bye, everybody.